The cover-up has started and the meltdowns have begun after one of the greatest national security and informational security failures that I can remember. Really, by far the biggest one I've ever covered. The inclusion in a Signal text thread of a journalist with regard to war plans in Yemen. This had already been confirmed, but Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, wouldn't confirm it, attacks the source, and spits out a word salad, the likes of which we've sadly come to expect from these people, but a word salad not apropos of any serious person, certainly not of a cabinet member. Listen to Pete.
Looking forward to it. One question.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details
First thing is he laughs. Then you'll notice he makes no eye contact.
classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's
attacks the press.
Made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this
Talk about other things. This is textbook disinformation.
the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our
Talk about completely unrelated things.
sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was looking forward to it. One question.
Can you?
All right. It's actually depressing. The story had already been confirmed at this point, and he just won't stop. He just won't stop. It's the same thing as when the stories broke about his drinking, his affairs, sexual assault, his behavior at strip clubs, the financial mismanagement of his charities, on and on and on. It's always this exact thing. Don't look people in the eye. Talk about other things. Use technicalities to try to avoid dealing with the substance of the question. And there is a greater aspect to this, as now you will see the cover-up begins. Part of the reason why no one in the Signal group said, maybe we shouldn't be using Signal for this, is because they are using it so habitually. Let me put it a different way. If they had used proper means of communication leading up to this text thread about bombing Yemen, and all of a sudden they start talking about it on Signal, you would see someone in the chat say, it might be a bad idea to talk about this on Signal. The fact that no one brings that up and everybody is completely comfortable talking about this on Signal is a confirmation that they are using Signal all the time. This isn't the only time that they are doing this. Now, as is always the case, look at their background. Here is Pete Hegseth 2 years ago talking about how Biden handles classified information.
He seems happy to take the word of Biden's lawyers, which is why it does feel like it's so much different than what happened to Donald Trump.
Well, look, unless the FBI is paying those personal attorneys, they shouldn't be taking anybody's word but their own investigators in the DOJ.
No.
I mean, that's their job. Unless they're, getting paid. And if they are, that would be our money. So maybe we go deeper. I don't think they are. But what else would be the reason for why at this point you don't tap every place he's ever been since he left office as a senator 15 years ago, since you know some of the latest documents date back to then? Why aren't you now going every place he's been? And by the way, who else has been with all those papers? Maybe you have 1,000 places you need to go now, depending on how many hands touched them.
Yeah, I mean, he is the president of the United States, which does create complications. But it also increases the urgency. If the top man in the job handled classified documents this flippantly for that long, why was that the case? Was it really that he didn't know? Because when you take something out of a skiff, if you're a senator, you know exactly what you're doing.
Anyway, here is Hegseth getting all sanctimonious and pretending like he's the arbiter of everything that is good with national security and informational security. And of course, this has all fallen completely flat. Back to Pete Hegseth being asked questions about this stuff. He again says nobody texted war plans. This was a lie.
Exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and
that is a lie. It had been confirmed a lie at this point in time. He is lying to the American people. He should resign. He should be fired. But what's going to happen? The cover-up starts. The cover-up starts with the usual suspects. Here is Dan Crenshaw, Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw, saying, we got to move on. I believe Pete Hegseth. I believe him.
No one was texting war plans. Dan, it seems this was obviously a mistake. The guy was put on the chat. Your reaction and the threat here?
Yeah, look, it's a mistake and we got to move on. If Secretary Hegseth says there was no classified information, I'll take him at his word until I see otherwise. The texts that were published in the paper, obviously it's not great. You don't want to be adding journalists to what is a sensitive conversation, but I didn't see anything that even came close to meeting the level of classified, but I also don't know. So if Mr. Hegseth is saying that, I'll take him at his word.
Takes Hegseth at his word. And of course, I wonder if Dan Crenshaw would be so comfortable saying it's time to move on if it had been, I don't know, the Biden administration, who included maybe Rachel Maddow in a text thread. Would they be so casually saying, mistake, okay, but like everything's fine, more or less, everything's fine, it's just time to move on. This is the cover-up that now begins. Here is MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, saying what the real takeaway is. We were executing with precision. This is a classic. Instead of focusing in on the fact that they are using Signal to talk about war plans, and they included a journalist in that erroneously, Mike Johnson goes, in reading through those texts, it seems like our war machine is operating on all cylinders.
What you did see, though, I think, was top-level officials doing their job, doing it well, and executing on a plan with precision. That mission was a success. No one was jeopardized because of it. We're grateful for that, but they will certainly, I'm sure, make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And of course, it is thanks to Jeffrey Goldberg. The reason nobody was jeopardized is because Jeffrey Goldberg said, hey, you know what? I shouldn't be in this thread. I'm going to remove myself from this thread, and I'm not going to start writing and talking about this right now. It's not through any good deeds of the Trump administration that it did not end up having the sorts of consequences MAGA Mike Johnson is referring to. It's thanks to Jeffrey Goldberg, whose character they assail. Final thing on this, because there's a tweet for everything. 10 days ago, this is not years ago, 10 days ago, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard put out an excretion on X, pretty nasty excretion, where she said, quote, any unauthorized release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such. Anyone with a shred of dignity and self-respect would resign here. They don't have any dignity, and they certainly don't have any self-respect. One of the things I learned during my recent trip to Europe is that if I am on the wrong mattress for me, it's much harder to sleep well. Helix Sleep, our sponsor, has a 2-minute quiz that will ask about your height and weight, position you like to sleep in, whether you have back pain, whether you tend to feel hot or cold at night, and then you get matched with the mattress best suited for you. I was matched by Helix with their Midnight mattress model. It has cooling features. I tend to get hot at night. I've been sleeping on this mattress for years, and it's fantastic. Helix also just came out with these awesome new mattress toppers. Unlike anything I've seen or felt before, their new dual comfort mattress topper with Glaciotech, which has a soft side and a firm side for 2 sleepers with different preferences. This has transformed the comfort of my bed. Every Helix mattress and mattress topper come with a 100-night sleep trial. If you don't love it, you get your money back. It's that simple. Helix will even get rid of your old mattress for you if you want. Helix is giving my audience 20% off site-wide at helixsleep.com/Pacman. The link is in the description.